Okay, this video is sort of a response to messages that I receive in my antenna, my cellular antennas, my cellular speed, Godspeed cellular processors, 3/20th of a nanosecond, three spheres logos, mama's three spheres logos, the mathematical relationship between eternal spirit of fire and organic water code, the plasma tones of water, the solvent, the sphere of light vent, venting. Volcanoes love to vent. Pressure relief valve. And the spin, the burn time, to eliminate finite light electrical mathematical codes. So, for an example, I shared this with Christopher Comstock, who shares a lot of the Be a Free Spirit Aurora platform, the sliders, those workshops, and he was sharing a file this morning, and that Michael Dean had talked about a lot of different stuff, but I try and simplify this and why I'm actually doing this video that had to do with I've received a number of messages that they're having a hard time. Okay, so we understand and know, electromagnetic energy, the entire spectrum. My consciousness is the entire spectrum. I phase as one with God Source. Because when I go out and do work, energetic work, I can see the silver and gold mated Ruche with my eyes both open and closed. And why I have to readjust my optics to go back to the other optical illusion that isn't God Source. I don't see God Source in that hologram, in that mathematical hologram. But when I open my eyes, I do. I see God Source. The inner you, the real universe, the first unicycle of a cosmic wave, a crystal wave. So, for example, there's a fan right here. So I'm not giving consent to experience that fan by flipping a switch. On, off, on, off, on, off, digital programs. So at night, because it's warm in here at night, so we know how to run a vacuum gauge, which is a thermometer, right? AC, DC, no DC, AC. AC from DC, the eternal direct electrical current of an acoustical hydro body, a water body. We're mostly water. The blood of the planet is water. Let the water flow. Let the water flow. The frequency, the range that we have, like a rangefinder, like a lens finder, the visual display, the cathode ray lava tube, two four-square crystals joined as one to experience being one with the silver gold mated one. That's the one I am because that's the one I serve. Electrical service. The crystal service, the crystal star, the crystal code, the know me code, know the code, the security code. And so because they've mentioned to me about having a hard time, I did a number of videos. I did many of them that covered a lot of different things as a spiritual practice, as a spiritual healing practice. In order to what? The firing order sequences of flame body activation, running the right crystal codes, the right spiral that is spinning to the right, your right foot, your electrical power. That's why over about a year ago, because of the work I was doing, I was running really hot and I had to put a cold compress on my right foot in the evening, So when you understand where I'm at on the big on, why that is when we're running the right spiral, they're running a counter spiral. It's in the reversal direction, the -13 reversal. See, so I experienced 0 hertz. That's no sound. That's Eye ManU. The sound of silence. And that doesn't make sense, does it, as a sensor, what we feel? Sound of silence? Silence is no sound. Reading from right to left and left to right on the electromagnetic spectrum to experience 0. That's no polarity. So I used to come up, I used to have a lot of binders. I still probably have 4 or 5 left around here. So when I'm not doing other things, I'll start writing, communicating directly through my heart, what I share and put on paper. And then what I'm learning through God source, what I'm experiencing by virtue of what I'm writing, which is what we're experiencing as a sound recording wave, the crystal wave, I will share that with others, the speed at which we're learning. To do what? Become one. Oneness with God source, eternal source of sound, the sound of light. Right? The echo, the true echo of a true vacuum. The purpose and function of a vacuum is clearance. Oh, a security clearance. Access keys. Yeah. Encryption. Mathematical encryption. So we know that God source is the highest divine order of mathematics. You can't hack an eternal sun. I was saying that at 4 years of age and it wasn't being translated. Right? Proportional translations of radio waves, radio frequency. So I used to make a list of those things, like my father. My father would always remind me, your creative power. That's your real power, is your creative power. How do you intensify your creative power? And you begin to understand, man, I'm generating a gazillion more neurons than I was before. I'm experiencing flame body activation. My creative quotient is gone ballistic. Not as a missile, but as a firelight creative crystal body. On fire to learn, it's on fire to create, because I'm learning through the eternal sun. Air sign. So I used to make a list, and I used to have 2 columns. My dad showed me how to do this. Assets and liabilities. Just like the way that they run an actuarial table of base 10 mathematics to steal electrons. That mathematical table. The one that doesn't serve us. The screen, the black screen TV. Right? The digital screens, the digital platforms. DEF CON, those folks. Obsessed with the next iteration of another phone. They're always selling us something. Because they got nothing to give us. They're not giving away their electrical power forever and always on duty. Battery duty, the eternal battery. You can't hack an eternal battery. You can't hack the first spark that ignites a fire. So what lights your fire? Remember the song by, what's his name? The guy Morrison? Who I guess his father was also with another intelligence agency, like an Agent Smith. That's what intelligence is. It's an agent, like an agency, an Agent Smith. False light programs. So it's a matter when you're operating in an operating environment like a hologram, is the speed at which you're mapping the mathematics. So I already knew before I was born, it's universe killer mathematics, otherwise known as Metatronic death science. The anti-crystal spiral. In other words, it, as in what it is, destroys what love creates. And that's ass backwards and upside down. So the mind is not sane. It's not sane to want to use your nuclear power plant to destroy yourself, is it? Drive us insane. Drive us mad. Mathematical spiritual torture chambers. A trap experiment. Yeah, BM. That's why we're here. That's what extraction is. Polarity integration. Pulling all the fragments back into the whole to experience being whole pie again. Which is experience being one again. Which is a cosmic level clock reset. The eternal clock is on fire. To make clocks. Clocks that cycle. Clocks that spin. The spin ratios of the mathematical table. is high precision timing. That only God source can know that level of precision. I know that through my own experiences, what I was learning from that experience, which is what I share with you. So I usually would suggest things that you can write down that you know, because you know yourself, you know your true self, access to all your memories, what lights you on fire. Follow your passion, as my father would say to me. What lights you on fire? Generate more neurons, experience more fire, right? Experience being more electric, right? Naturally, within your own soul, in the essence of your own spirit. What really lights you on fire? So I know it works. The more creative we are, the more on fire we are. I know that through experience. Because when you're experiencing your creative mind, because you're one with the cosmic mind of the first engine, the first engineer, the first sun, the first mathematical table, the first communication platform, the first network engineer, a standalone engine, a standalone sun, an eternal sun. All right? On fire to create, on fire to learn more about what we're creating, to accelerate building a universe that is in love with itself. And that's what the law is. That's cosmic law, because that's a cosmic law mind, which is a cosmic engine. So the engine is always on. The engine is always creating in perpetual motion. What do you want to create next? And the speed at which it's being made manifest into creation. Now we're experiencing in our mirror what we manifested, what we're creating by virtue of who we are, to experience being one with the first sun. Yeah, so I start making a list of those things that really turn me on. Remember, turn me on, turn my fire on, turn your engine on, turn the key on, the monadic key, in the right crystal direction. So what you begin to realize by acknowledging it within your own creative mind, that when you're creating and exercising your creative skills, your creative quotient power, like little children playing with crayons, like when I was a child, and they had the little short boxes, the little boxes of crayons, and it didn't have that many colors in it. And then I saw another child that had a box that was about 4 times that size. And I go, well, look at all the color frequencies in that box of crayons. Yeah, more colors, more frequencies, greater range, greater bands, a bigger radio set. And then the more colors that you have at your disposal, like disposable diapers, right? Otherwise known as the expendable batteries, battery slaves, to power a war game, the war game theater, the videographs, Star Wars video gamers, the video graphics, the holographics of Star Wars video games, and turn that game off. I'm no longer giving an electrical consent to experience a war gamer. I don't experience what I am, which what love is, because I'm a creator being. And start exercising your creative mind. And the more that you're exercising your creative mind, guess what happens? You're experiencing more of I am. I am a creator being. And I do not allow my spirit to be held captive by something that's dead. It's not a spirit. So who would you rather learn through? Would you rather learn through a spirit like a tree? The memories of trees? Imagine you can communicate and sit down with a tree one day, and the tree is communicating to you all of its memories of what it's learned to become a tree. What a tree is. The memories of trees. So we're learning through the memory of the first tree. The first tree of life. The real tree of life. The real unicide. The crystal wave. An eternal waveform. The heart wave. The heart key. Turn that key on. Turn that fire on. Right? So there are a lot of different ways you can actually ask yourself with your own little cells. Ask your cells. Your cells will respond back to you. Your DNA is living energy, living conscious energy, the spirit in the molecule. What turns you on? Creatively. To creatively express more what you know that you are, which is what love is. And your engine fire will increase exponentially, because that's the function of an exponent. is an accelerator. Accelerating your electrical potential, which is the future potential memories of what you're creating, which is what you're manifesting. How creative we are. So that's why the cool schools were set up the way they were. Blank slate memory wipe technology. Now they're not experiencing being a creator being, because now they're held captive by something that's just intelligent, but doesn't have any creative power. A copycat. Like copyright, like the patent office. Yeah, as Lyndon Baines Johnson said one time, the USA is Murder Incorporated. Well, who's the biggest murderer in the room, in the building? Elvis left the building. God is always in the building. The structural components, the elemental command line, the cursor line, the flashing light sequences of real life, which is real life, which are real codes. The first mathematical codes, the first mathematical electrical acoustical codes, the codes, generating the codes, self-generating codes, a code operator, a telephone operator, a radio operator, right? So what turns you on? And so just start making a list to yourself and you'll begin to start feeling better. Now, I can't speak for you, but I know that I have felt better when I do that because I've learned how to do that. Because your creative quotient is where your real power is, because that's what real life is. The first engine of creation is on fire. That's the eternal spirit of fire. That's what purifies our water. So that you're no longer held captive to the other. Now you're experiencing what you are as a creator being, a spiritual being that's on fire, experiencing pure, eternal, absolute love through your own heart. So you're restoring your heart, so your heart is on fire. And that fire, when your heart is on fire, because your creative quotient, which is your electrical power, is increasing, then you're far more electric than you are magnetic. And that will strengthen your shield, which is your state of consciousness, which is your soul. Now you're beginning to heal yourself by being more creative, which is a free creative expression. The expression of fire. So the eternal expression of fire needs a coolant, a venting process, relieve the pressure, an evacuator, evacuate the pressure, a vent, like lava tubes. Yeah, the air tubes, airson, the airwaves, the sound of water. And so that's what I suggest is it's one of the reasons why I love to be in nature. Just that's what I am. Eye ManU is nature, a natural crystal spiral, and spent so much of my life in forests and in the ocean and everything that is alive and living in frequency as a sentient life form, the spirit. Now I'm feeling better. That's why I spent so much of my time in forests and mountains and hiking and camping and sleeping on beaches and hearing the waves put you to sleep at night. Right? Rock the cradle, right? Those waves are putting me to sleep. It feels so good to feel the waves of that water. Remember the water? Water worlds. I love the water. I love the sound of water. Oh, that water feels good. Just like when I was up in Bozeman, Montana, at that place called, what is it? Gallatin Gateway. There's a cool river that runs down there. And so when I was denied service access to my biometric account that's held in a blood bank account, then I just left the truck where I was at on a big turnout and then hiked about 100 feet to my right, and there was a river. And that's where I spent my time, is with the rivers. And I found out that yellow jackets love watermelons. Boy, they come to that watermelon. They eat the whole thing up. Energy consumption, the usage rate. So there is a correlation in the net loss and gain as networks of how much time we take looking at a different screen, and how much how much electrical power comes back to us as a correlation in experiencing the higher electrical speed by who we're choosing to provide electrical power to. The net loss and gain, the usage rate, as electrical transactions of nodes in a network, communicating through different networks. The neurological network, the lymphatic system, and the optical illusions. Now we're not experiencing any optical illusions anymore because we're experiencing the silver and gold mated one in our own mirror. Now we're seeing the face of God that lives within your own heart. Now you're experiencing the true Unisai, Yanni, the original instructors, the instructions, the mathematical instructions of programming DNA, divine-born DNA, living energy, living frequencies of a living spirit. The light spirit body is on fire, the eternal spirit of fire, and that's what heals us. Is the fire that we have within us, which is our heart and our soul, and the essence of our spirit, which is the unique essence of who we are as an original, which means your whole body. You restored your whole body. You restored your whole crystal body, the crystal wave. Now you're one again. Again, a gain of mathematical function.